So I just wanted to post an updated tutorial on how I grind RCMs, RCLs, and what they're used for. So RCLs are going to be what you use like in your little weapon masteries. So each one of these skills will have certain skills within them that will affect all weapon classes essentially. Those are usually going to be your first go-tos for 1 and 2 level up at max out. Essentially, you're going to want to hit all of them to affect all weapons, and then whichever weapon that you like best that you typically are going to be maining, whether it be bow or sword, that one you'd want to deep dive deeper into like after you've taken care of these to increase your damage output. And the beginning for small and medium, there are kind of like, I wouldn't say weaker, but just less benefits in them, but you still want to max them out because they're pretty easy to max out for the all weapon classes. Like this one would be used for just RCMs. Attack plus 10 is not like the biggest increased attack, but it does affect all weapons. So essentially, that's like plus 80 flat attack stat. You also have HP that affects all weapon classes. That's going to be in every single one of the categories as well. One of the main ones that you do want to make sure that you max out is going to be attack percentage. 5% doesn't seem like a lot, but once you start stacking into your base stats, multiplying against that 5%, and that times 8 for each weapon class, it does add up over time. Another one that's kind of towards the end is going to be your sword skill masteries. That's going to be in every weapon class as well. And these are going to be affected to all weapon classes, so it does help out all of your builds or whatever weapon you're using. Those are going to max out at 10% each. Those are going to use RCLs. And as for sword, this skill is actually in there twice as the last skill once you max out that skill. Besides that, you can max out your levels of each weapon too. I can't remember the exact benefits. I want to say it's like per level is like 2 base attack or something like that. So that's important too, but I feel like that can be taken care of after the actual skills in each category. As for builds, you can go either way, whichever is fastest for you. The method that I use is actually using a connect skill, which is this rapier connect. So the actual skill itself isn't like what I use it for, it's the benefits of the connect skills inside of it. So when you have 2 Yuki skills in the build, it's an added benefit. So each skill in it that's fire is going to gain attack for whatever placement it is on the connect skill. And then with the 2 Yuki skills, you also get the increased fire damage. So typically this is just a fire build. And to make sure that I streamline this as quick as possible for quest board, I essentially built everything towards just thrust fire. It's a bunch of skills that will increase my base attack and attack percentage, as well as fire damage and more fire damage. I kind of double down on what I'm doing while I'm doing quest board. I do run the EXP tickets in my bottom armor. I wouldn't consider this weapon experience farming, but um, it does get a little bit more weapon experience than you normally would get by having agates in there while you're progressively just farming RCM, essentially. The top, I just have agates that are going to help towards fire damage and thrust damage a little bit too. Because essentially, my main goal is to kill the quest board boss by using just the connect skill. I do have a couple dead skills in here. I basically needed um, this Yuki skill on there to get the added bonus from the connect to get the extra fire damage and attack. I have one skill right here, which is just a burst. This is just in case I don't kill the boss on just a connect. So on the quest board, you're typically going to defeat the boss that you can do the quickest. I want to say usually RCM farming is going to start at Alaz or Blaze, whichever you prefer to call them. It's a pretty easy boss, but that just, I guess that just depends on what level you are or where you've progressed in the game. So for this build, the main goal is to kill the questboard boss in the easiest way possible, which for me I find to be the connect. As long as you have the bonus set for the connect, it doesn't matter what element it is, or whether it's fire, water, rapier, axe, dagger, whichever one that you have that has the bonus effects of doing extra damage and extra attack per skill in the connect, I would use that and try to set that up for whatever the requirements is for the connect. It's going to be literally the easiest way to do quest board farming. Quest board farming is super tedious, so the less work, the better, because essentially you're just clicking one button to delete the boss. Typically, your quest board farming for RCMs is going to start at Blaze. If you can defeat bosses faster than Blaze, I would suggest doing that. Typically, that's going to stop at Warden. I feel like Warden's probably like the easiest boss to one-shot connect. After you get past Warden as a quest board boss, the bosses get a little bit more of a pain for their attack windows. Like the butterfly kind of flies up in the air, which you can miss a connect hit. Last number one kind of has a really small attack window as well. And then any boss besides that, you kind of either have to break or use more than the connect to kill. But if Blaze is too easy, you can always move up. My two favorite are either going to be Asura or, like I said before, Warden. Warden is typically what I will farm just because it doesn't matter what element it is. As long as you have the connect with the connect bonuses set up right, you can basically one skill kill them. So even though my weapon setup is not the weakness of Warden. Just having the glass cannon build for straight attack with the Igits and the bonuses from the Connect pretty much makes them able to one-shot kill. So basically, once you have the right setup for the Connect, you're basically just going to farm the boss over and over again using that one skill. So whatever boss you can use a Connect to kill, from either Allah's up to Warden, just do whichever one's easiest. It's always going to die during the Connect. Super tedious. The RCM and RCL drop is just really just random RNG. So it's basically just number game. Just grind it over and over again until you can max out those weapon skills to increase your skill damage and TP. Pretty much the only way to get RCMs, unless you're just weapon stone farming, and then you just kind of just get it as you're farming your weapon stones. Besides that, you do have the daily quests, but the daily quests, you either do it one time, or sometimes they have the event that lets you run them 3 times, but it's really not, it won't get you there fast. So the fastest and best way to actually increase your damage output is really just farming RCMs and then leveling up the skills in them.